give Monty and his staff and his players credit. They came in here and they did what they were supposed to do to get a win. So hats off to those guys for executing the way they did offensively and getting enough stops to get the win. But it's, you know, there are many times during the season where I could say that I was disappointed in our performance. And tonight is definitely one of them, if not at the top of the list. The way we played the game, especially defensively, was not good. Detroit had their way with us. We couldn't contain the dribble drive in the ISO situation. We couldn't contain the ball in pick and roll situations. They got downhill and collapsed our defense and sprayed the ball for 3-point shots after going along the baseline. Jaden Ivey he torched us. Jalen Duran, he was a handful. Alec Burke and Sasser off the bench, they got to their spots and created scoring opportunities for themselves time after time after time. Even when we tried to blitz the ball, they just dribbled right around our double team and went downhill, and we had to commit a third guy. And you know, now you're instead of being one short on the perimeter when you blitz, you're two short on the perimeter. But the way we performed defensively, it was not good, and it was concerning. And I told the guys, I said, I hope that this stings. I hope that this stings, because the way we played, there wasn't anything that I could say that was good about it. And I am disappointed in the way we played, and it's unacceptable. And for us to think that it's okay, or to feel like this was a tough one because we came off of a 14-day road trip, that's a bad excuse if any of us think that way. I hope none of us think that way, because we can play better. And at the end of the day, I don't care if we lose the game, because you're going to lose. You're going to lose games. And these guys beat Oklahoma City a few games ago. So you're going to lose games, and you're going to lose games that everybody thinks you should win. But if you lose a basketball game, you at least want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I left it out on the floor. And I don't think many of us can say we can look ourselves in the mirror tonight and that we left it out on the floor. That's what's disappointing to me. Not necessarily the loss, although I would like to win. I just don't believe many of us can look in the mirror and say we left it out on the floor, which is very disappointing.
Yeah, Mike, we talked about it before the game, but
yeah.
Again, the three-point shooting became like a huge issue in this game. Is there something that you guys need to do structurally to change up some of this, or is it, again, just a second effort and that type of stuff?
The first thing, James, is doing what we do. I mean, there were a couple examples, and I talked to our guys at the end of the game. You know, Alec Burke is hot. He's got the ball on the left wing late in the game. And he's 3 feet behind the three-point line, and Fox closes to him. And Fox closes short. Alec Burke raises up into a shot. Fox contests. Now, everybody would think that that's a great contest because he was almost hand-to-hand. That's not how we close out to hot guys. We practice. We say we're going to hip hot guys. That means you run, basically put your chest or put your body on their side in a no middle stance. And as he raises up, now you raise up to contest. But you don't get to him, stop short, hands down, now he raises up, and then you raise to contest. So we have to do, and we worked on that today. We worked on that today. We work on it a lot. And we worked on it today for 5 minutes during the defensive segment. And we don't close out the right way. A lot of their threes came off the pick and roll. Whether we blitzed or tried to play our normal coverage, whoever the ball handler was dribbled around Domas, went along the baseline. We had to commit another guy. So now you've got 3 guys trying to contain the basketball because he's just getting around us. When that happens, if you're not actively on the side of the ball with high hands, instead of putting your chest in front and not letting that ball get around you, once that ball gets along the baseline and it flattens the defense, and you're not there to try to have active hands, they're going to throw darts to players along the perimeter. And now it's a long closeout because you committed the third guy to the ball because he went around the pick and roll defense and could have shot a layup if we didn't commit a third guy to the ball. In transition, one time we ran back to the paint, we should have ran to a guy that was open on the wing. So these are things that we practice and we will continue to practice. But at some point, we have to say, you know what, I'm going to do it the right way. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to do it the right way at the highest freaking level. And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to point and say we got to change things up. There's nothing to change up right now because we're not doing our job. We didn't do our job tonight, for sure.
Mike, I wonder, especially given the success of the road trip, how much does tonight kind of take away from maybe some of that feeling that you guys had?
Going 5-2 is great. I feel like we've played some pretty good basketball, but I don't like how we played in Cleveland defensively, and that had some carryover to tonight. We have to, every time we step on the floor, want to display some grittiness. But our mindset right now is if things don't go well, it's because something offensively we're not doing right. And trying to convince our guys that, hey, don't worry about the offense. The offense is going to be on. We didn't play well offensively tonight. We scored 120 points. That's enough to win a ball game. But we're making the same mistakes over and over again defensively, and we don't understand how important it is to figure that out sooner than later. And that's concerning to me. It was concerning in the Cleveland game. It's concerning tonight. And hopefully it can change going forward. Because, yes, you go 5-2, you feel good about your record, but you feel and see things that aren't good, especially long term to be able to sustain what you feel and hope your record can be, if that makes sense.
Mike, the ups and the downs and kind of the inconsistencies, is it more a product of, in your mind, like physical shortcomings or something like mentally with this group?
It's probably a combination of both. Because like I said, we literally practiced closing out today. We practiced defending the ball in the pick and roll. And we couldn't close out to hot guys. We haven't been able to close out to hot guys. And that's been a part of, although we were winning, that still has been a struggle for us for the most part. We've had stretches where we've been okay with it. And then the pick and roll. I mean, obviously I'm going to look at it, but I'd love to see where we rank defensively in the pick and roll game. Because tonight, it was not good. Almost every time somebody came out the pick and roll, they got around us and collapsed our defense.
Coach, obviously the deadline is here and you guys are professionals, but do you think it's possible that some guys came into this game with the trade deadline on their mind and maybe not the game as much as it should have been?
You'd have to ask them. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach, when you say you're kind of making the same mistakes defensively, it's stuff we've heard you talk about before, obviously. When you see that happening, how do you approach that as a coach? I'd imagine you don't want to just keep doing the exact same thing. Like, how do you try to change up the way that you're approaching it if it doesn't seem to be clicking with the guys?
We went from, you go from a blitz, you go to a blitz, you try to change personnel on the ball. You even try to change personnel with the screener. You play your normal coverage. thing we probably didn't do was play zone tonight. You know, could we have played zone? Maybe, but the way that our effort was tonight, defensively, that wasn't good enough to warrant me to say, hey, let's play some zone against these guys.
Tony?
Coach Brown, that second quarter when Detroit scored 39 points,
Yep.
the Kings scored 27. What do you think went wrong with their with the Kings in that quarter? Because they did have 36 points at the end, which is like a flip flop in the second quarter. So what do you think it went south in the second quarter?
Yeah, I think there was a stretch. It was it was the last 3 minutes. I think they scored 15 points in the last 3 minutes, and it was because either we turned the ball over or they were just getting out and running, and our transition defense was really poor. And then, you know, again, we were half a step slow with everything we tried to do, and they did a great job of moving the ball and knocking down open shots when they had the opportunity. But that 15 points in the last 3 minutes, in my opinion, was we didn't close the quarter like we should have. We always tell our guys, close the quarter the right way, close the quarter with a sense of urgency. And Detroit had their way with us in the last 3 minutes, and that's why they ended up with 36 or 39, whatever, 39 points in the second.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Coach.